Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's show. I'm your host, Zach Drew.
And I'm Andrew Bellers.
We've got kind of a smorgasbord of articles to talk about today. Reminds me of the good old days, Andrew. That's kind of how we started. We started, just a whole bunch of articles in one day when we do 10, 15 articles.
Oh, yeah.
Now, we are going to do probably 3 or 4 different articles today that are, actually unrelated, but in a way, they actually do connect as well. But anyway, listen, the last couple of weeks, I have totally forgot to say it because I get so, just zoned in on the content. I want to ask you that if you have been considering becoming a monthly partner of IGBY and the Zach Drew Show, if you just pull the trigger, that'd be awesome. That'd be incredibly helpful. I'm not going to get into it all right now. We'll discuss it in maybe a couple weeks to come. But we did the big fundraiser, and then right after that, we actually, and I'm not angry or anything, just things happened, but we lost a great deal of monthly partners. I've been getting a lot of letters that have come in. It all came in at one time, actually, and a little nerve-wracking, but we're okay. God's in control. But if you'd become a monthly partner, that would be so amazing. Just go to zachdrewshow.com and click the bright orange donate button. We have ramped up so much more content. Now is not the time that we can afford to take a step back. So join us, partner with us if you believe in what we're doing. Listen. Oh, and also you can write the good old-fashioned way. Zach Drew Show, P.O. Box 797, Decatur, Illinois, 62525. Get involved. All right, so I want to revisit something that we've talked about before on this program. This isn't new, but there is new things to discuss. And it's not like where we can go, oh, wow, look at this. These things I've never heard before. Initially, you're going to hear new things, but got to lay the foundation first. No, we've been watching this happen over and over again. The attacks on masculinity. Now, a lot of it is like, seriously, it's like subconscious. Like it's propaganda. It's the shows that the sitcoms that we watch. It's from Hollywood. It's from art. It's from music. There is so much happening that's actually an attack on masculinity. And there's also attacks on testosterone. There are attacks on meat, right? Now, you're like, Zach, what in the world is this show about? Just stay with me. The attacks on what it even means to be a man. It's all the same pattern. And here's what drives me crazy, all right? I'm on my soapbox right now. I'll settle down in just a second. Every single time they package it, they present it, how they spin it, it always sounds so good. Like I read it and initially I'm like, yeah, it's for my health. It's good for the environment. I'm not a liberal, but if you are, it's like, well, it's good for climate change. We want to do our part, all right? And taking care of the earth is important. I'm not a believer in climate change, or it's for equality, it's for safety. And you sit there and you go, okay, that sounds pretty reasonable. But when you step back, you start to realize, if you use a little bit of critical thinking, it literally is all connected. Because at the end of the day, they don't want strong men because strong men do not submit easily. So you don't attack them. The MO is that you reshape them slowly, subtly, until strength is seen as a problem and weakness is seen as progress. So then I come across this article and I thought, of course they're studying this now, because now we're not just talking about culture, we're talking about biology, we're talking about what actually shapes masculinity in a fundamental way. So the article talks about what Mongolian gerbils can tell us about testosterone. So that the article was like, I gotta see what's going on here. So the Mongolian gerbil is a small rodent, typically around 8 to 10 inches from nose to tail. Believe it or not, these cute little animals can tell us a lot about testosterone. The pop science view of testosterone is, of course, that testosterone promotes aggression. If we were doing like a podcast right now, you'd insert a screaming man, "Ah!" Right? Testosterone promotes aggression. If a man has more testosterone, he's going to be more of a handful than a man who has less. More likely to engage in retrograde behaviors like fighting, raping, killing, and so on. The implication then is that if we want to live in a safer, if you want to live in a safer, more peaceful society, it would be better if there was less testosterone to go around. Right. That's the narrative we've all heard. Testosterone equals bad. Masculinity is just dangerous. Just dangerous. So the solution is what? Lower it, suppress it, make men less manly, because somehow that fixes society. That has been the pitch. Back to the article. That's why a little while back, the director James Cameron said he was glad finally to have rid his body of the toxin testosterone, which presumably had led him to make all of those great films in the 1980s like The Terminator, Aliens, and The Abyss. Yeah, testosterone. The toxin. The same toxin that has built civilizations, has fought wars, protected families. But yeah, let's detox that. I'm sure that will go well. I can tell you right now, it's not going very well. Andrew, I can tell you, I'm looking at our country, it's not going very well. Testosterone levels generally decline as a man ages. 1% year on year from the age of 30, it's generally agreed, but there are also things a man can do if he really wants to speed up that process, like becoming a vegan. Also, hey, just so you know, men tend to, like that, as you get older, men can develop that grumpy old man, get off my lawn, right? So that is actually not testosterone. That is actually a decrease of testosterone and an increase of estrogen, which a man is not created for, and it makes him agitated. So if you're like that, go see a doctor.
So maybe I need to see a doctor.
Go see a doctor, Andrew.
That's what you're saying.
It's time to get checked out.
Yeah.
Listen, where the heck was I? Testosterone does naturally decrease, but the messaging is that we're seeing is very consistent. Lower testosterone. Okay, we need to do that. We got to change diet, redefine masculinity, and we are supposed to believe all of that just, this narrative just happened randomly. Just happened randomly. Let's go on with the article. Pop science isn't wrong, at least not totally. Testosterone is involved in aggression. But things are just a little bit more complicated. And this is where those gerbils come in. Male gerbils were allowed to bond with female gerbils and get them pregnant. The natural order of things, Andrew. The male gerbils were then given a shot of testosterone. The researchers believed this would make the male gerbils less interested in their partners. But in fact, the complete opposite happened. Instead of going off and looking for other females to mate with, the males became super partners, spending large amounts of time cuddling with their mates and attending to their needs. This was part one of the experiment. In part 2, the males were separated from their mates and placed with unknown males. Under normal circumstances, this would lead to an immediate showdown. But because the males had been turned into super partners, it didn't. This changed, however, when they were given another shot of testosterone. Now they either chased the unknown male or ran away and hid. In one context, because context matters, in one context, it promotes love and affection. And in another context, testosterone produces aggression. So this is where it gets really interesting, because it completely shatters the cartoon version of testosterone where we've been fed over the years. We've been told testosterone makes men reckless, dangerous, and just out of control. But that's not what the data showed. These males didn't become chaotic. They became better, more attentive to their partner, more present, more engaged. And when the situation called for it, they could be calm. And when it required it, they could be aggressive. That is not toxic. That's not toxic.
It's almost like God designed our bodies to be the way that they are.
Well, I'll be.
Like maybe something that God put in us is not a toxin. Maybe a fetus is not a parasite. Maybe they're wrong about that.
That's right. It's not toxic. That's control, actually. That's strength under direction. That's order, natural order, God's order. So the issue isn't testosterone. The issue is the environment that testosterone is operating in, because it by itself doesn't create behavior. It amplifies what the situation demands. Which means the real question isn't how do we reduce it? The real question is, what kind of world are we shaping men for? And a quick little throwback. This is where I said we've talked about it before. Interesting article. Actually, it's a study. So, Rana Suleiman Alagali, then a PhD candidate at Claremont Graduate University, published her doctoral dissertation, and it was called this: a wide-ranging series of essays in behavioral economics and neuroeconomics. One essay was entitled "Testosterone Administration Induces a Red Shift in Democrats." So, is there something going on underneath the radar? Is it really about men are toxic? Is it really about saving the environment? Or is it really, what is it? I honestly think that for what they want to do, there's something that stands in the way. Strong men. The text recounts a 2011 experiment. Researchers tested 136 healthy young men's testosterone levels, asked them about their political party affiliations, then gave them either a placebo or 10 grams of, it was testosterone, a high-end dose of a common form of testosterone often used in hormone replacement therapies. The next day, they tested the men's T levels and asked them about politics again. Their baseline measurements found that staunch, self-identified Democrats had lower T than anyone else in their sample pool. And after dosing the guys, they found that men who'd previously expressed weak affinity for the party felt even less connected to it and warmer towards Republicans. So like this whole like thing, this whole like new word, soy boy, like it isn't just like a derogatory term.
Now there's something to that.
There's something to it. You're getting all the meat out of your system. You're replacing it with soy. You're lessening your testosterone and you're becoming more feminine. Not a single Republican changed their views. Study which concludes that leftist males are likely to become conservative when their testosterone levels rise. So let's just zoom out for a second, okay? We have a culture that increasingly pushes lower testosterone, different diets, softer definitions of masculinity, while at the same time we're seeing data that testosterone is tied to strength, stability, structure, and even how men think politically. And you're telling me that none of this is connected, that none of these apparently totally separate narratives that are all actually pushing the exact same things are just not connected. Now, I'm not saying I have every answer, but I am saying this: when you consistently see the same direction across culture, science, and messaging, it should at least make you stop and ask why. Because a society of weak men is a society that is very easy to control. Hey, real quick. Oh, golly, we were halfway out of time. Okay, quick. Okay, I got to get into this really quickly. Okay, this is important. That's what was happening in the world. You know, a bunch of crazy liberal elites pushing this thing to control the world. All right. The spiritual side. Just went full blown Alex Jones for a second.
They're making the frogs.
Making the frog. No. To understand this, you have to understand the family unit. Andrew touched on this a little bit. The family is a government within itself. Okay? And what I mean by that is it is a God-ordained sovereign bubble, a sovereign unit that the Lord has created. What we are seeing is an attack on the family through government and social engineering. And I have about 2 pages of articles on this, and content, and I just can't get to it. So I'm just going to jump down, and I hope you can just fill in the blanks, because I want to say this. God provides gender roles within scriptures for the family. If there are no definitive genders, then there are no definitive roles. In other terms, if gender is subjective, then so is the Word of God and how it can be carried out. And we know that neither are subjective. Satan, what we're seeing, if we pull the blinds back, we are seeing Satan at work. Satan is at war with the kingdom of God. Satan is at war with God's kingdom, which means his institutions, his creation, his natural order of things. He is against the sovereign institution of marriage, and we're seeing an insane attack on marriage throughout this entire country. There is an entire movement. People just don't believe in marriage anymore. There's no benefits. You can reap all of the benefits of marriage without the institution of marriage today.
And this is just, I know we got to get through this.
No, go ahead.
But this is just like the newest leg of this, because you look at the feminist movement of the 60s and, free love, which was, go and do whatever you want with whoever you want. And they were able to do that because of birth control. And then the feminist movement exploded. And you have these institutions telling women, you will be fulfilled in your life if you go into the same career fields as men and if you become their competitors. And it takes women out of the home. And now you've got men and women out of the home. I mean, that was just like the first step of them trying to destroy the family from an institutional level. This is just the newest step.
That's right. That's right. The enemy is literally walking around seeing who he can destroy. And like I said, sovereign institution, and he's against the creation of natural rules, like you were just saying. What does it mean to be a man? What does it mean to be a woman? What are their natural rules? He's against all natural rules. Like, for example, I have in my notes here, what are the roles of parents over their children? Well, we have God-given parental rights. The enemy wants to strip that from you. That is why I believe that a lot of the public education system today is destroying our kids. And that's why the modern day public education system wants to strip parents from their parental rights, because it's an attack on the natural order of things. He's attacking God's definition of sex. Just because you were assigned a gender at birth means nothing. This is an attack on God by attacking his sovereign institution, his creation, his natural order. It is time to wake up from your slumber and connect the dots. All right, listen, we are going to switch gears. Another article. The Federal Bureau of Investigation. What I'm about ready to read to you, honestly should concern every single American watching right now, not Republicans, not Democrats, literally Americans, because this isn't about safety. This is about surveillance. And once you hear how they're doing it, you're going to realize that they've already built the system. Let me put this article on the screen for you. FBI is buying data that can be used to track people, Patel says. That's FBI Director Kash Patel. And I do not agree with it, okay? Here's the article. The FBI is buying up information that can be used to track people's movement and location history, Director Kash Patel said during a Senate hearing Wednesday. That was last week. It is the first confirmation that the agency is actively buying people's data since former Director Christopher Wray said in 2023 that the FBI had purchased location data in the past, but was not doing so at the time. Don't believe that, by the way. But first up, okay, from that section, let me translate that for you. The federal government is buying the ability to track where you go, where you've been, and how you live your life. Without a warrant. Not because you committed a crime, but because they can purchase it like it's a product on Amazon. This is surveillance for sale. Quote, we do purchase commercially available information that's consistent with the Constitution. No. No, it is not consistent with the Constitution. It is a workaround of the Constitution. The Fourth Amendment says that the government cannot search or seize without a warrant. So what do? They don't ask permission. They pull out a credit card. That is not law enforcement. That is legalized spying. And the laws, so we do purchase commercially available information that's consistent with the Constitution and the laws under the Electronic Communication Privacy Act. And it has led to some valuable intelligence for us, Patel told senators at the Intelligence Committee's annual Worldwide Threats hearing. The U.S. Supreme Court has required law enforcement agencies to obtain a warrant for getting people's location data from cell phone providers since 2018. So I want to understand this. So it's already been established that the Supreme Court has said has required law enforcement agencies to obtain a warrant for what? For getting people's location data from cell phone providers since 2018. So catch this, because this is where it gets pretty evil. The Supreme Court said, you need a warrant. So instead of following the law, they found a way around it. They said, what if we don't get it from the cell phone company? The Supreme Court says that would be a violation of the Constitution to do that without a warrant. So what if we don't do it through the cell phone company? What if we just buy it from someone else? That is a direct attack on the spirit of the Constitution. It's not just anti-American, it is anti-freedom. But data brokers offer an alternative avenue for purchasing the information directly. Data brokers. Do you know who's never elected? Data brokers. They're unelected. They're unregulated. They are invisible middlemen selling your life. Where you go to church, what doctor you visit, what political event you attend, who you spend time with. And now the government doesn't have to spy on you. They just have to buy your profile. Many lawmakers want to end the practice. Senator Ron Wyden, a Democrat, and Mike Lee, Republican, Utah, introduced the Government Surveillance Reform Act on March 13th. The fact that they have to introduce a bill, by the way, to stop the government from buying your private life kind of tells you everything you need to know. This should already be illegal. Here's the article. On March 13th, which would require federal law enforcement intelligence agencies to obtain a warrant to buy Americans' personal information. Quote, doing that without a warrant is an outrageous end around the Fourth Amendment. It's particularly dangerous given the use of artificial intelligence to comb through massive amounts of private data, Wyden said at Wednesday's hearing. And he's right. This is an end run. This is how freedom dies in modern America, not with tanks in the streets, but with data pipelines and algorithms. And here's the part nobody wants to say out loud. Once AI gets fully integrated into this, which that's where we are heading, they won't just know where you've been, they'll be able to profile and know and be able to predict where you are going. The bill has a House counterpart introduced by Zoe Lofgren, Democrat, California, Warren Davidson, Ohio, Republican. Committee Chair Tom Cotton, Republican, Arkansas, defended the practice in the hearing. So they're for it. They're saying, we're cool. I know. Quote, the key words are commercially available. If any other person, this is key in this article. This is Tom Cotton talking. The key words are commercially available. If any person can buy it, and the FBI can buy it, and it helps them locate a depraved child molester or savage cartel leader. Always give the extreme examples to justify these things, right? I would certainly hope the FBI is doing anything it can to keep Americans safe, he said. That sounds reasonable until you think about it. Quote, if anyone can buy it, the FBI should be able to. No, the FBI is not anyone. They have power, authority, weapons. The Constitution places limits on government for a reason, because when government has access to everything, history shows it eventually uses it against its own people. Well, I can trust this administration. Well, I can trust Kash Patel. No, you can't. You can't. Let me tell you why. You can't trust this. Because if it's being implemented now, it will be implemented for every administration moving forward.
And by the way, it's already way worse than this. Because we're talking about the FBI, the CIA, the intelligence agencies of our country are institutions built on secrecy. If this is the stuff that they're like...
That's been allowed to be said in Senate hearings?
Not even just allowed, that they're just freely offering, like, yeah, we do that. Without any, like, pushback, without any subpoena. Just, oh yeah, we do that.
Yeah.
This is the stuff that they think, like, oh, the public's not going to care about this.
Yeah. And like you just said, it's not just the FBI, it's all of our three-letter agencies. Here's the next part in the article. Defense Intelligence Agency, the DIA, Director James Adams told senators at the hearing that his agency also purchases commercially available information. Like, essentially, like, saying, like, bro, it's cool. I do it, too.
Yeah.
He's cool. Like, we all do it. Like, that's literally his defense. I do it, too.
Isn't
like,
it
no.
cool?
That two wrongs don't make a right,
Yeah.
Mr. Adams. So now it's not just the FBI, it's spreading. Intelligence agencies, all tapping into the same system. This is how infrastructure gets built. That's what I'm saying. Like, well, we can trust this administration. We can trust. I agree. Like, Kash Patel is a good dude. I agree. I mean, I don't know everything about him, but I mean, I like him. Not everything, but I like him. But it's like, if these things are built now, we don't have a conservative administration. We don't have a conservative FBI director forever until ever. Sooner or later, it's going to change. And what I'm trying to say is that what they're building right now, like multiple agencies getting involved, this is how infrastructure gets built. Like, do you understand that? Quietly, gradually. And it's always justified by safety. And one day you wake up and realize the system was never about catching criminals. It was about tracking citizens. This is the foundation for something much bigger. End times. Truly end times, a surveillance state powered by data, justified by fear, and completely capable of controlling a population. Where are the strong men to stand up, to see what is happening, and to speak up and fight? We're out of time for today's program. Would you like to land this plane?
No.
Okay. Well, we're out of time. We'll see you next week.